never run. The Geno Summers charge particle gun. Mad thunder crawls like a mountain of doom. The death summer lasts and seals their doom. From swamps to clears, we hunt in packs. No mercy, no peace, we don't turn back. Monster machine. We are the Raptors, wolves of war. Fast and lethal, built to score. Rank by rank, we fall and rise. In the shadow of titans with never-end eyes. 1,000 dies for the Empire's dream. Blood and oil spilling one dark stream. We are the Raptors, wolves of war. Fast and lethal, built to score. Rank by rank, we fall and rise. In the shadow of titans with never-end eyes. 1,000 dies for the Empire's dream. Blood and oil spilling one dark stream. Teeth of the horde, cry, scream for the gallows lord. Geno Summers charge, death Summers crush. We are the flood, the kill, the rush. From scorched sea skies to cratered land, we fight, we die by the Empire's hand. We are the Raptors, teeth of the horde, cry, scream for the gallows lord. Geno Summers charge, death Summers crush. We are the flood, the kill, the rush. From scorched sea skies to cratered land, we fight, we die by the Empire's hand. Raptors ride, the pipeline and march never ends. Monster machines. Raptors ride, the black march never ends. Monster machines. The void of the stars, a lone world screams. Star, the broken, torn at the seams. Steel beasts clash in the fiery tide. From the central plains to the oceans wide. From mountains high to the desert stone, march the heroes carved in chrome. Shield lickers run with a howling might. Command wolf strike in the dead of night. Godos roar on shattered ground, where liberty and steel are bound. That thunder stops, the earth will shake. For freedom's flame, make no mistake. Zoids, thanks to metal hearts of fire. Zoids, in the storm we rise up higher. Republic's thunder, steel defenders roll through burning skies and battles toll. Zoids, this is the final stand. Mad thunder and the Ultrasaurus command. From shadows deep and wasteland blight, march the claws of the endless night. Hellcats stalk with silken death, sinkers soar with missile breath. The red horn charges cold and grim, death summer wakes on chaos whim. Their warpath scorched, their justice blind, a ruthless march for a twisted mind. One is thunder, one is doom. They clash beneath sea's blood-red moon. Giant horns clash, cannon fire rains. One will fall and break the chain. Mad thunder charges, defiant roar. Death summer hungers for the war. Zoids, justice rolling like a storm. Zoids, in shattered cities hope is born. Barricaders blaze the swamps and fire field. Zoids! Metallic giants rise from iron grounds. Blue guardians down the heart. Lights and fury in the sky.